The definition of reciprocity is the practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit. This is heavily shown in the relationship humans have with the mountains and the resources they provide. We wouldn't be where we are now without the knowledge of our ancestors and the practices they had in place. The Earth has been around a long time, but the majority of what we are experiencing and living off of now is remnants of what our ancestors did to the Earth and communal knowledge being passed through generations. Italy used to be a shallow sea and tropical island. The most important mountains around us are the Dolomite Mountains.
Since the Industrial Revolution, the impact man has had on the environment has been very big. The Mews is in an industrial district and is built with local material. It used to be a tire factory. Sustainability-wise, the museum uses rainwater as part of their recycling process, and it's used in both toilets and sinks. One way the museum promotes reciprocity is through the way the exhibits are structured. There isn't a lot of writing in the exhibits, but there are a lot of people standing around that are experts that you're supposed to interact with and learn from. Lots of exhibits are not in a case unless they are rare, because they wanted the museum to be interactive and have a modern feel. The museum did this purposefully because they wanted people interacting. This promotes passing down of education and knowledge through generations, which is a form of reciprocity.
The way the castle cultivates fields is highly sustainable. The first thing Marina did when she started working at the castle was try to preserve naturally because hunting was big in the area and she didn't want to disrupt the pattern of the ecosystem. She has the mentality that we should try to go along with nature's rule due to the fact life was created by nature, not us. She observes, then tries to apply. The field fixates nitrogen from the air and transfers it into the ground, which is a natural process. Marina tries to spread the message to her community that if one has a healthy and alive earth, season by season one can grow things. She sells the grass as hay for the cattle people. She tries not to cut too much because there are bees and animals that rely on the grass. You don't have to empty a field to grow your own, she told us. Every little bit helps. Marina is not saving the world, but she has a reciprocal relationship with it and her community by spreading the knowledge she has and promoting sustainable practices.
Tomas, our guide, was trying to share his knowledge and that of his grandfathers by taking others up to the now abandoned mine. He wanted to educate others on the history of the mine and the importance to the local people. His goal for the future was to fully restore the barite mine that his town had deemed so important. The preservation of that culture is very important to him due to his familiar ties to the land. We were also educated about historical practices that caused damage to the mountain. For example, overmining can lead to sinkholes as the mountain collapses inwards. It is easy to think that we are practicing a more sustainable venue when we open ski slopes and hiking trails, but it is important to be cognizant of the hidden damages that can ensue. Tomas's passion and the thirst to spread education about his grandfather's legacy was evident. The reciprocity his family had with the land was showcased through the education Thomas reciprocated to us.
Lake Moveno is the deepest lake in Trentino and one of the largest alpine rivers. It is about 1,000 feet deep and was formed 5,000 years ago by a landslide. In 1952, it became a hydroelectric plant connection. Every 10 years, the lake is drained for tunnel repairs. This happened most recently 2 years ago, and the lake was completely emptied. Different types of fish and plants, which were indigenous, died, but due to the open space, people could come and hike. This operation was criticized because of the environmental impact. The alpine brown bear was considered a threat to the livestock and to the safety of the humans. We did not view them as part of the environment, and because of that, they were hunted until there were no more in the mountains. Time and time again, we attempt to modify nature to suit our needs, without thinking of the greater damages. The deer population skyrocketed and more issues arose. Now, we are reinstating the alpine brown bear, and it is again thriving in its natural habitat. Our guide noted that the damage could have been fully avoided if we as humans had attempted to coexist with nature instead of trying to change it.
The historic Venetian lumber mill functioned until 1970. This mill is a perfect example of people using the natural resources available to them to survive. In the past, a lot of packaging was made out of wood. Specifically, spruce and larch wood were used to make cigar boxes. Bigger pieces were used locally for buildings like houses. Smaller pieces were transferred to other areas. There was a huge market for this. Modern mills aren't that different than this one. They're pretty similar in method. They just operate faster now because of machinery. This let us know that the education of the mill operators of the past was reciprocated to current mill architects.
Reciprocity and sustainability both have intertwined and are perfectly displayed in the relationship we see humans have with the mountains in northern Italy. Hopefully other countries follow this true model of sustainability and reciprocity so that we can continue to learn from them and grow with the earth.